Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello. It's clear? So, Excellencies, do I have your permission to start? May I start, please? All right. So, good morning. My name is Keshav Varma. I'm Senior Advisor to the Snow Leopard Trust and also work with the Global Snow Leopard Environment Program. I would like to welcome all of you who represents the most beautiful regions of the world. There is no such thing as the mountains of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and Kashmir and all over the world. It's a very special place. And all these, in these mountains, the snow leopard symbolizes the beauty, the wilderness, and the ecology of these mountains. So it's a very special day to welcome all of you. It's truly special. The issue before us is, sir, that these mountain systems are under stress. The rivers are under stress. The mountains are losing their biodiversity and the pastures are also under stress. However, they can still be saved. And what we need are very focused actions which not only talk about policy, but also ensure implementation. We have a special initiative known as Rising Nations. And today, to honorable ministers and to all the senior policymakers, our request is to start something for the High Mountains initiative for the next 10 years and have a resolution on this. The Secretary General has talked about a High Mountain Alliance, and it is important that that happens. It is also important, sir, that resources from the GCF, which is sitting with $100 billion, are also reserved for the high mountains. It's very critical. I think it is important that ministers and policymakers really make a request, because otherwise most of these resources go into plain projects in the plains and they don't go to the mountains, because people who are policymakers are sitting in the plains and they don't quite understand what is going on out there. So it is important that you make a resolution that at least 20% of the GCF resources should be, for the next 5 years, reserved for this. We need champions, sir. And champions are sitting in front of me, sitting in all the chairs here. We need political leadership and political will, very strong political leadership, because the forces that are destroying this are also extremely special. So, and lastly, I want to convey that the beautiful, gorgeous snow leopard which runs across these mountains actually is a great indicator and a mascot for all of us. And this is what would finally determine the sustainability of this system as well as of the community. So let me first invite Honorable Minister from Kyrgyzstan, Mr. Turton Bayev, Minister for Natural Resources, Ecology and Technical Supervision of the Kyrgyz Republic. He's a very young man, and I'm sure he'll bring a lot of dynamism to the program, and thank you for all you do for the program in Bishkek. Okay, I have been corrected, sir, as usual, by my colleagues. They're very good at correcting me. So we have, I thought I was waiting for His Excellency, but now there is a speech from the President of Kyrgyzstan. Would you please play it? Thank you.
Урматтуу айымдар жана мырзалар, бүгүн мен сиздердин алдыңыздарда айланасы аска тоолор менен курчалган Агылбирстин тукумун аздектеген кыргыз эли байырлаган жерде Аларча жаратылыш паркынын чоо ортосунда турам. Дал ушул жерден улуттук символубуз Агылбирстин туруктуулугу менен улуулугун даңазалаган кереметтүү табияттан кайрылуу мен үчүн чоң сыймык. Менин аркамдагы тоолорду 20дай Агылбирс жана Аркар Кулжа, Сүлөөсүн, Суур жана башка көптөгөн уникалдуу жапайы жаныбарлар байырлайт. Биргелешкен күч аракетибиздин аркасында мындай жапайы жаныбарлардын санын калыбына келтире алдык. Бул Кыргызстандын жаратылышты жана биологиялык ар түрдүүлүктү коргоого өзгөчө көңүл буруп жаткандыгынын айкын мисалы. Мага экологдор тобу менен бирге Аларча жаратылыш паркына фото капкандарды коюу процессине катышуу насиби буйруптур. Алардын жардамы менен табият коюнундагы Агылбирстин саны, жашоосу жана баскан турганы тууралуу улам жаңы маалыматтарды гана албастан, жаратылышта тең салмактуулукту сактоонун маанилүүлүгү тууралуу кабардар болобуз. 10 жылдан ашык убакыттан бери Агылбирстер байыралган бардык өлкөлөр менен кызматташып, жапайы жандыктардын мындай баалуу түрүн изилдеп коргоп келебиз. Кыргыз Республикасы быйыл 10 жылдыгы белгиленип жаткан G-SNAP программасынын алкагында Агылбирс байырлаган бардык аймактарды бириктирүү жаатында алысты көрө билгендигин далилдей алды. Мындай жамааттык аракеттер бул кереметтүү жаныбарга анын байырлаган чөйрөсүнө аяр мамиле жасоо жана аны сактоого болгон далалатыбызды баса көрсөтүп турат. Агылбирс Кыргызстандын табигый жана маданий байлыгынын символу гана эмес, тоо экосистемасынын туруктуулугу менен саламаттыгынын көрсөткүчү. Бул бийик тоолуу экосистема бүткүл континент үчүн суу башаты катары кызмат кылып, дүйнө калкынын 1/3 бөлүгүнүн турмушун камсыздайт. Аккар көк муздан сызылып, төр-төрлөрдөн агылып келген суу жашообуздун маңызы. Ошондуктан Агылбирсти эң маанилүү ресурстардын сакчысы десек туура болот. Мөңгүлөр эрип, климаттык шарттар барган сайын туруксуз болуп барат. Климаттын өзгөрүшүнө Агылбирс минималдуу салым кошкону менен ал байырлаган жерлер дүйнөдө орточо көрсөткүчкө салыштырмалуу 2 эсе тез ысып жатат. Бул жер шарынын эң аялуу аймактарынын бири. Жаратылышты коргоо боюнча аракеттердин тездигин ашкере баалоого болбойт. Тоолорду коргоо боюнча биздин милдеттенмебиз планетанын келечегин камсыз кылуу боюнча милдеттенме. Агылбирсти көрсөткүч катары колдонуу менен региондун узак мөөнөттүү бакубаттуулугу, өзүн-өзү суу менен камсыз кылуусу, мөңгүлөр менен тоо экосистемасын сактоо мүмкүнчүлүгү жөнүндө сөз кылууга болот. Азиянын Гималай, Гиндукуш, Памир, Тянь-Шань, Алтай жана Тибет платосу сыяктуу тоо кыркаларын камтыган 3-чү уюл мөңгүлөрдүн эрүүсүнөн көз каранды. Бул болсо таза сууга жана экосистемага көз каранды, миллиарддаган адамдардын жашоосуна жана бакубатчылыгына чоң коркунуч туудурат. Тилекке каршы көйгөй жылдан жылга курчуп баратат. Биз бул баа жеткис жаратылыш байлыгын коргоонун алдыңкы сабында турабыз. Мөңгүлөрүбүз эрип, биологиялык ар түрдүүлүк коркунучка кептелип, элибиз суунун тартыштыгы менен катар азык түлүк коопсуздугуна туш болууда. Ошентсе да биз келечегибизди коргоого жана планетабызды сактап калууга болгон умтулуудан, аракетибизден баш тартпайбыз. Бирок аталган көйгөй менен жалгыз-жалгыздап күрөшө албастыгыбызды жакшы түшүнөбүз. Бул жалпы мурасты, 3-уюлду жана агыл бирсти сактоо боюнча биргелешкен аракеттерибизге кошулууга баарын чакырабыз. Кеч болуп кала электе мына азыр чечкиндүү чараларды көрүп, чогуу аракет кылышыбыз зарыл. Келгиле урпактарыбыздын ажайып кооздукка жана биологиялык ар түрдүүлүккө толгон дүйнөнү мурастап калуусу үчүн баа жеткис кеничти коргоодо бир бололу тикебизден тик туралы.
It's very interesting to see the Honorable President of Kyrgyzstan actually putting a camera trap. Perhaps the only head of the state who must have ever done that, to actually put a camera trap. So may I now request the Minister for Natural Resources, Ecology and Technical Supervision of the Kyrgyz Republic, His Excellency Mr. Turgunbayev, for his welcome address. Thank you, sir.
Dear Excellencies, dear members of our Parliament, dear guests, and ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to welcome all the participants of our event. I'm very pleased that our initiative to hold this meeting during the 28th Conference of the Parties of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change has been supported by my esteemed colleagues and our international partners. Your presence here shows your solidarity with the challenges that the mountain ecosystems are facing, including the melting of glaciers and growing threats to one of the most beautiful regal representatives of wildlife and ambassador of high mountain ecosystems, the snow leopard. I see our meeting as one of the opportunities to encourage the dialogue on mountain conservation and climate change that we proposed a few days ago, with the aim of identifying the measures needed to conserve high mountain ecosystems, glaciers, and rich biodiversity. Today, more than ever, such dialogue, multilateral cooperation, and effective collaboration on all complex issues are needed to achieve concrete results for the benefit of our region and the planet as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, glaciers and mountains are nature's archives and regulators of our planet's climate. Their melting entails not only the loss of unique landscapes, but also the loss of important data about our planet's past. The preservation of these natural formations is both about the balance of nature and a sustainable future. The Kyrgyz Republic is one of the largest regions in Central Asia, characterized by modern glaciation. Parts of mountain systems such as the Tian Shan and Pamir Alai are within Kyrgyz borders. Practically in all mountain ranges of the country, there are centers of modern glaciation. Glaciers of mountain ranges are not only a landscape element, but also accumulators of ecologically clean fresh water. Remaining committed to fulfilling its commitments under the Paris Climate Agreement and the Global Sustainable Development Goals, Kyrgyzstan, as part of its efforts to adapt and build resilience to global climate change, pays close attention to glacier monitoring, degradation of mountain ecosystems, development of mountain regions, and biodiversity conservation. Kyrgyzstan is among the 200 ecological priority regions of the planet, an important part of our strategy is the creation of national parks and reserves to protect vulnerable ecosystems and preserve Kyrgyzstan's priceless wealth, our glaciers. We are also investing in scientific research and cooperating with international organizations to develop effective climate change adaptation strategies. It is essential for us to implement a large-scale program at the global level on mountain forests, their conservation, restoration, and afforestation of mountain slopes. Mountain forests reduce air temperature, increase atmospheric humidity, and thus contribute to the preservation of glaciers. Our glaciers form half of all water resources in Central Asia and are cold spots on the body of our planet that help maintain the global climate balance. In 2022, we launched the national campaign Green Heritage to increase forest plantations throughout the country with a focus on the mountainous regions of our country. By planting trees in the mountains of Kyrgyzstan, we contribute to the conservation of not only half of the water resource of the entire Central Asian region, but also contribute to the preservation of the global climate balance on the planet and the natural heritage inherited from our ancestors, and passing it on to the next generations who will live on this planet. Dear friends and colleagues, symbolically, this year marks the 10th anniversary of the Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystems Protection Program, following endorsement of the Bishkek Declaration in 2013. The program, whose secretariat is based in Bishkek, is a unique intergovernmental alliance of 12 countries to conserve snow leopards and can play an important role in combating climate change in the high mountains of Asia. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the snow leopard range countries and all those present who continue to play a key role in conserving this majestic species and its fragile habitat in partnership with local and indigenous peoples living in the high mountains of Asia. Together, we have made significant progress in snow leopard protection. Our efforts have extended conservation activities to large areas, mobilized resources to implement national priorities, and launched global initiatives such as a comprehensive assessment of snow leopard population and the creation of databases to combat illegal wildlife trade. Much has been done, but much more needs to be done. Today, we all face a major challenge: global warming. It is important that we act now to prioritize climate change adaptation programs in the highlands of Asia, also known as the third pole. The third pole of our Earth, often overlooked in discussions of climate change, requires our immediate attention. Melting glaciers and retreating snow cover are not just localized problems, they are a global crisis. The increased frequency of extreme climate events directly affects vulnerable communities, disrupting their sustainable livelihoods. This is a global call to action. The stakes are high. The time is now for action. Let us together create a story of hope, sustainability, and collective action to preserve the planet's third pole, to improve the well-being of our mountain people. I urge support for the snow leopard as a symbol of climate change adaptation at the third pole, an emblem of our commitment to protecting the region's mountain ecosystems and the livelihoods of those who call these lands home. In this context, we expect the full support of international partners. Dear participants, in conclusion, I would like to quote the words of our outstanding writer Chingiz Aytmatov. For valor today is not in taking more from nature without giving it anything in return, but in living with nature in full harmony, proving in practice its reasonableness. This is an accurate and profound thought. If a person is able to take care of nature and its inhabitants, then they have the ability to take care of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency, and thank you very much for your support to the Snow Leopard Secretariat in Bishkek. It's really nice to be out there. May I now request His Excellency, Mr. Nasim Bayev, Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Sir.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Я рад сегодня видеть у нас в павильоне на данной сессии очень важный для Центральной Азии вопрос сохранения популяции снежного барса. Хочу поблагодарить кыргызскую сторону за приглашение и возможность выступить на данном мероприятии. Казахстан обладает огромным разнообразием горных экологических систем и большим разнообразием биологических видов. Снежный барс является одним из самых редких и крупных хищников в Казахстане, скажем, Центральной Азии, который был внесен в Красную книгу нашей страны в 1978 году. Он является государственным символом страны и имеет большое общественное значение, отражая бесценное природное и культурное наследие казахского народа. В начале 80-х годов прошлого столетия численность снежного барса в Казахстане составляла всего 180-200 особей. По учетным данным, сейчас в стране обитает около 300-400 голов барсов. Ряд системных мер, принятых правительством Казахстана, позволил увеличить численность барса, которая сейчас имеет стабильную тенденцию роста. Ключевым решением в увеличении численности уникального животного в пределах нашей страны явилось сохранение экосистем обитания снежного барса. На сегодняшний день проводятся серьезные шаги по внедрению адаптационных мер к климатическим изменениям, сохранению биоразнообразия и устойчивому управлению экосистемами. И в этом мы сотрудничаем с международными агентствами, неправительственным сектором, гражданским сообществом. Для обеспечения сохранения глобально значимого биоразнообразия в Казахстане была создана масштабная сеть особо охраняемых природных территорий общей площадью свыше 29 миллионов гектаров, что составляет 10,7% общей площади страны. Многолетняя научная работа по изучению снежного барса в Казахстане на базе существующих охраняемых природных территорий проводится Институтом зоологии Министерства науки и Республики Казахстан. В последние годы изучение современного состояния популяции снежного барса и объектов его питания, аналитическая деятельность ведутся в рамках проекта ГЭФ-ПРООН по лесным экосистемам. Ежегодно обследуются ключевые участки обитания вида с применением фотоловушек также. Благодаря проводимым работам вопросы сохранения снежного барса были в определенной степени решены. Браконьерство и незаконная торговля дериватами снежного барса, наблюдавшаяся в Казахстане в 90-х, в начале 2000-х годов, в последние годы стали крайне редки. Вместе с тем ряд вопросов остается по-прежнему достаточно актуальным. Развитие транспортной инфраструктуры приводит к серьезной фрагментации места обитания и усилению изоляции популяции снежного барса. Рост фактора беспокойства для животного создается массовым пребыванием населенных пунктов вблизи городов. В последние годы все больше мест становится более доступным для туристов. А на фоне изменения климатических условий, ввиду уменьшения снежного покрова, заметно возрос туристический поток. в зимний сезон, время в сезон спаривания снежных барсов, что является дополнительной проблемой на сегодняшний день. В связи с этим перед нами встает задача по сохранению баланса между развитием экотуризма в особо охраняемых природных территориях и охраной животных. Учитывая сказанное, нам необходимо более углубленное изучение снежного барса и его ареалов с выработкой рекомендаций международных специализированных организаций по подходу к сохранению биоразнообразия экосистем и развитию экотуризма. Другим вызовом современности является проблема изменения климата, которые волнуют и Казахстан. Наша страна, как и другие страны Центральной Азии, относится к группе стран наиболее уязвимых к изменению климата. В последние годы изменения проявляются в регионе все заметнее. Растут колебания температуры, волновые явления холода и жары, все чаще происходит засуха, увеличивается нехватка воды. Так, деградация земель, засуха, опустынивание паводки, утрата биоразнообразия, наводнение и сокращение площадей ледников с прогнозируемым снижением поверхностного водного стока, вызываемых более острым, чем в других регионах мира, ростом температуры, требует срочных и скоординированных действий по вопросам адаптации к изменению климата и смягчению последствий. Мир сегодня нуждается в решительных действиях стран. Решение глобальной проблемы, связанной с изменением климата, требует активного участия и вовлечения всех заинтересованных сторон, поэтому достижение данной цели напрямую зависит от нашей совместной и плодотворной работы. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you very much, Excellency. It's truly very impressive that snow leopard numbers have gone up 3 times, from 100 to 300 in Kazakhstan. It's a measure of scientific approach and political will. But there is this tourism pressure, and that needs to be really balanced. Ecotourism and its stress that it causes in the habitat is an issue that needs to be looked at. But congratulations for the fact that you have curbed illegal trade and traffic and increased the numbers. May I now invite His Excellency Minister of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia, Mr. Bart Arden. Okay, all right. So may I now invite Minister of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Mr. Abdul Hakimov. Excellency, please.
Thank you.
I'm impressed by the fact that there are such young people who have taken up this cause.
I
Great.
think we are not so young, but anyway, thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Уважаемые главы делегации, дамы и господа, очевидно, что глобальное потепление влияет на горные экосистемы. Наблюдается ускоренное таяние ледников, увеличение количества и магнитуды опасных процессов. С изменениями на поверхности следует изменение растительности и биоразнообразия. С повышением температуры воздуха мы наблюдаем увеличение площадей, пригодных для багряного дождевого земледения в горных районах. Это расширяет возможности для аграрного развития, увеличивая продолжительность вегетационного периода для растений. Но вместе с этими возможностями приходят и новые вызовы. Растущий дефицит воды, учащение и увеличение риска природных катастроф, таких как селевые потоки и наводнения, сочетание с интенсивным освоением территории и растущим населением региона усиливают потенциальный стресс, оказываемый изменением климата на горные экосистемы. Суммируя антропогенные воздействия, такие как выпас скота и перенаселение, сочетание с растущей температурой воздуха. Вот вчера приводились цифры. В Центральной Азии рост температуры по сравнению с общемировой, она в 2 раза выше. И количество жарких дней увеличилось в 2 раза за последние несколько десятков лет. Все это, конечно, негативно сказывается на устойчивом развитии горных регионов, которых много в наших странах. Уважаемые участники, научные исследования показали, что ледники на территории Республики Узбекистан испытали заметное уменьшение площади и объема. В 2023 году по сравнению с 1960 годом южные регионы потеряли до 60% своей общей площади ледников, в то время как северо-восточные около 35%. Это огромные цифры. На фоне общего сокращения площади оледенения наблюдается эффект дробления крупных ледников на более мелкие. А освободившихся площадях образуются новые горные озера, источники потенциальной опасности, и происходит исчезновение также и этих малых форм оледенения. Горные озера непосредственно являются потенциально опасными для населения, проживающего в низовьях, так как являются основными источниками селей и наводнений. С изменением ареала обитания происходит исчезновение уникальных видов животных, эндемичных для горных территорий. Все эти темы требуют отдельного, внимательного обсуждения не только исследователей, но и государственных деятелей и общественности. В этой связи мы поддерживаем инициативу Республики Кыргызстан по открытию диалога по горам и климату. Уважаемые участники, воздействие нарушений горной экосистемы, например, деградация ледников, стремительно усугубляет ситуацию в нижних по течению районах. Страны, подобные Казахстану, Узбекистану, где только 20% или немного больше занимают горные территории, а вот 80% водных ресурсов поступает от соседних районов, испытывают наибольшие последствия водного стресса. Наши ключевые экономические сектора, такие как энергетика и сельское хозяйство, зависят от устойчивого управления горными территориями региона. И по последним расчетам к 2050 году ожидается снижение объема воды в бассейнах Сырдарьи и Амударьи на 10-15%. И это, честно говоря, оптимистический прогноз. В результате существующий на данный момент дефицит воды, я буду говорить на примере Узбекистана, может увеличиться с 3 миллиардов кубических метров до 7 миллиардов кубических метров к 2030 году и до 15 миллиардов кубических метров это к 2050 году. Для уменьшения воздействия на окружающую среду Республика Узбекистан взяла на себя обязательства по сокращению выбросов парниковых газов до 2030 года на 35% по сравнению с 2010 годом. В стране активно производится реализация плана по переходу на зеленую экономику. Вот вчера вы, наверное, слышали инициативу нашего президента. У нас уже 2 гигабайт – это зеленой энергетики, это возобновляемая энергетика, имеется в виду солнечные панели и ветряная энергия. И, значит, мы в следующие 10-15 лет хотим достичь 25 ватт зеленой энергии. Внедряется инновационное решение в сферах водосбережения и умного сельского хозяйства. Могу сказать, что буквально на днях президент Узбекистана объявил новую инициативу по бетонированию всех каналов в Узбекистане. Это очень серьезная инициатива, на это выделяются ресурсы. Это позволит нам сэкономить от 50 даже до 60%. То есть эффективность водопользования может возрасти до 50-60%. И также это активно развивается капельное орошение. В стране принята специальная программа по внедрению капельного орошения в сельском хозяйстве. Также мы можем привести пример инициативы Яшель Макон. Проводится масштабная работа по лесопосадке на дне Аральского моря. 1 800 000 гектар уже были облесенены, и в дальнейшем это будет также работа продолжаться. Вы знаете, в этом году мы провели референдум, на котором была пересмотрена Конституция Республики Узбекистан и внесены дополнительные статьи в сфере экологии и охраны окружающей среды, подчеркивающие важную роль данной сферы для страны. 46-я статья говорит о важности экологии и правах наших граждан на чистый воздух и экологию. В разработанной стратегии развития нового Узбекистана предусмотрено очень много новых инициатив по внедрению новых экологических норм. И в дальнейшем мы также будем внедрять нашу национальную программу водосбережения. Дамы и господа, мы считаем, что сегодня все наши страны делают достаточно много в этом направлении, однако нужна более тесная координация и практическое взаимодействие на таких площадках, как COP28 по вопросам адаптации к изменению климата, декарбонизации и внедрения чистых технологий, развития умного сельского хозяйства и водосбережения. В этой связи мы, вы знаете, буквально недавно провели очень серьезное мероприятие, заседание Конвенции по борьбе с опустыниванием и засухами, КРИК-21, на который были подняты очень серьезные вопросы. Более 700 делегатов приняли участие со 130 стран, и мы надеемся, что эту работу мы вместе с нашими коллегами продолжим, так как Центральная Азия является одной из самых негативно воздействующих с точки зрения воздействия изменения экологии. В этой связи мы также приглашаем всех участников сегодняшнего мероприятия принять участие в ряде предстоящих мероприятий в историческом городе Самарканде. Это 14-я конференция сторон Конвенции по сохранению мигрирующих видов диких животных. Это как раз о снежном барсе. Также и логотипом данной конференции также является снежный барс. CMS COP14 в феврале 2024 года. А также в апреле этого года по инициативе нашего президента проводится первый Самаркандский международный климатический форум «Центральная Азия перед лицом глобальных климатических вызовов. Объединение ради общего процветания». Мы рады приветствовать всех на сегодняшнем мероприятии и хотел бы буквально ознакомить вас с последними инициативами, которые были выдвинуты нашим руководителем. Первое, мы предлагаем на платформе Центральноазиатского диалога по климату разработать стратегию адаптации, отдельную для нашего центральноазиатского региона. Также мы считаем, что нашим странам необходимо объединиться с тем, чтобы активно принять участие в разработке всех документов, связанных с созданием фонда потерь и ущерба. Я думаю, что активная поддержка этих механизмов нашими странами позволит нам более эффективно бороться с последствиями изменения климата. Также мы предлагаем принять участие в создаваемом климатическом научном форуме. Это такая некая резиденция на базе Зеленого университета в Ташкенте. Также в 2024 году мы предлагаем провести в Узбекистане конференцию на тему климатическая миграция. Я думаю, это уже большая проблема, которая должна стать актуальной для нас всех. Также мы предлагаем разработать с Международной организацией труда МОД программу «Зеленая занятость» и при этом организовать центр моделирования влияния изменений климата на занятость. И также приглашаем молодежь Центральной Азии и всех других стран принять участие в молодежной конференции КОП на высоком уровне. Спасибо за внимание.
Excellency, thank you very much for your support, and this is to just convey that the next steering committee meeting of GSLEP would be in Samarkand in Uzbekistan in February. So let me now have the distinct honor of inviting Mr. Asif Haider Shah, Secretary, Ministry of Climate Change and Environmental Coordination, Government of Pakistan. Excellency, please, floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon. My name is Sayyid Ghulam Qadir Shah. I am speaking on behalf of Mr. Asif Haider Shah, Secretary, Ministry of Climate Change, who is in fact engaged in Prime Minister's event, so he could not participate, so I am speaking on his behalf. First of all, I would like to thank Republic of Kyrgyzstan for inviting us to this very important event. I regret that my secretary could not come, but I am here, and we extend our full support to the Kyrgyzstan in this very important event. As this event relates to mountains and mountain ecosystems, which are very important, particularly for the countries like Pakistan, because mountains are source of water for countries like Pakistan, and our entire economy is dependent on water. Not only water, but they are source of habitat and for various important ecosystems as well as the species, like iconic snow leopard that we have, and we are fortunate to have around 200 to 400 snow leopards in our mountain ecosystems. So delegates, Pakistan has shown strong political commitment to the cause of environment and sustainable development, thereby signing various multilateral and bilateral agreements and developing and preparing various national strategy and action plans to for the conservation of ecosystems in country, and as well as developing partnership with the regional countries on common areas. As far as conservation of snow leopards is concerned, the government of Pakistan has taken various steps in partnership with various conservation organizations that work in Pakistan, like WWF Pakistan, Snow Leopard Trust, and we are successfully implementing one of the programs which is for the conservation of snow leopards. In Pakistan, we have been successful exploring more than 50% of the snow leopard range to understand the ecology and conservation needs of the majestic cat species and their prey. These research findings were then translated into identification of conservation hotspots and expansion of protected area in snow leopard landscapes. We have established 3 protected areas, including 2 national parks and a biosphere reserve, covering 0.66 million hectares of the area, covering the snow leopard landscapes. Similarly, measures have been taken to mitigate and compensate snow leopard conflicts, particularly in the 50 valleys where there is a human wildlife conflict in that area. So we are trying to work with the local community how we can compensate them the loss of any of their livestock. So a successful livestock vaccination program we are operating in those areas. We are vaccinating 300. So far we have vaccinated 300 livestock of the local communities just to reduce their mortality. Pakistan has also drafted a national strategic action plan to ensure ecological responsible tourism in the snow leopard landscape and successfully implemented model community-based conservation tourism projects in the northern areas of Pakistan. These activities are supported by tailor-made educational and awareness raising activities at the local, national and regional levels. A myriad of thematic audiovisuals and printed resource materials are developed and disseminated at various levels. Apart from snow leopard and we have very successful trophy hunting program, which is again supporting snow leopard because it's protecting the prey species of snow leopard in the area where the snow leopard exists. So that successful because of that program we incentivize the local communities and through those trophies, and that provides financial benefits to the communities, and in turn they try to protect the prey species. And the population of prey species is now increasing in Pakistan. Similarly, we are running some forest conservation activities in Pakistan. We have one of the biggest ever flagship forest conservation and forest rehabilitation program, which is called Green Pakistan program, and it targets planting of 10 billion plants by 2030. And this program is successfully running out, and so far we have planted more than 2 billion plants during the first phase of this program, and this program remains continued. So I think protecting mountain ecosystem is basically very important, and it is not any investment in protecting mountain ecosystem is basically protecting your people, protecting it's very important for food security, apart from conservation of these very iconic species. We are also we have received an invitation from Kyrgyzstan Republic and joining us on another their mountain partnership program, and so as to develop a common position of the regional countries on the conservation of mountain ecosystem. So we are grateful for that invitation, and we look forward to developing a common regional position on how we can work together and collaborate and do successful negotiations at this COP. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, and congratulations for the Green Pakistan initiative. Excellent. 10 billion trees and already achieving 2 billion is a remarkable achievement. So congratulations for that. May I now invite a gentleman I used to know, I still know him, Mr. Maheshwar Dhakal. He's the Director General of Environment Forestry in Nepal. So Maheshwar, please.
Thank you, Keshav, and good morning, Honorable Minister and distinguished participants. First of all, I would like to share my sincere thanks to the government of Kyrgyz Republic for organizing this important event and giving the opportunity to me. And I'm speaking here on behalf of my minister, who is just in the high-level segment for the country statement. That's why I'm here. As the previous colleagues, Honorable Minister, spell out about the importance of the snow leopard. Since the Keshav is here, Kausav is here, and all the Kyrgyz colleagues are here, we are working together since 2012. It's almost a decade we invested to snow leopard conservations. For me, mountains matters snow leopards, and snow leopards matters mountains. That's why there is no choice to work together in the team, together with the snow leopard range countries. Basically, and the IPCC 6th report and even the previous report, the cryosphere and ocean in the changing climate, has clearly spelled out about the importance of mountains and how it is vulnerable with the greenhouse gas emissions. That's why for all snow leopard range countries, snow leopard is our identity. It gives pride and proud to all of us as a dignity and is a part of environmental integrity, and definitely it is a part of humanity as well. That's why you do not have multiple choice to go through the team to save the species, not only to save the snow leopard, but to save ourselves. For me, Nepal is doing our best through the various protected area systems from eastern Kanchenjunga mountain to western Apinapa, including mountain Everest areas. And the population of snow leopard is slightly increasing, but still we do have many efforts. We have to invest and we have to make a more solidarity. And at the same time, green growth strategy, what international communities and the private sector is talking about the mountainous regions, we have to be clear that mountainous region not only produce the fresh water for the people, but it also support to the irrigation system, particularly to the downstream communities. That's why Indus Himalayan region in the eastern Himalayan is very, very important regions, and the biodiversity and high value medicinal plants, and at the same times nature-based tourism are our opportunities. That's why I appeal to the international communities and international organizations to invest on green growth strategy and nature-based tourism. If we really want to save the species, the vulnerable species like snow leopard. Regarding to the nature-based solutions and ecotourisms, it creates green jobs and green business to the local communities, private sectors, and finally government. And let's make an opportunity that not only the local communities and the range countries, but let's also provide the opportunities to the international communities. They can take benefits from the snow leopard conservations. Very recently, the snow leopard, the species is facing the various problems, particularly the conflicts with the local communities and the crime, and of course the crisis of climate change. Regarding to the climate change, which is the most pressing agenda and problems to our range countries, you do not have to double the adaptation support, to double the adaptation fund and fulfill your commitment by $100 billion and increase the access of local communities and the developing countries, mountainous countries over the advanced technologies, and of course the final capacity building of the developing countries is always very important. And if you do not include the youth and do not support the women and most vulnerable communities, then you cannot make a resilient society, not only the human beings, even for the species like snow leopard. That's why let's work together, and Nepal is always with you in the team. Keshav is here, Kausav is here to coordinate with us. Thank you, sir, for giving the opportunity. Nepal is always with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure the program will continue to do very well under your professional leadership, which you have always given to the tiger conservation, which has tigers have increased in Nepal in a huge number, more than 200%, more than 200%. So it's an amazing achievement. So well done, Mr. Mahendra Dhakal. May I now invite Dr. Charu Mishra, Chief Executive of Snow Leopard Trust. I have to stop Charu from running. He's a, what do you call, ultra? He does ultra marathon, and one day he started running in the city of Bangalore and kept running for 162 kilometers for 24 hours. So then a lot of people went and, will you please stop? But he still wanted to run. So today he just did 12 kilometers today in the morning. So that's not much. So Charu has given a lot of energy and support to the GSLEP program, and has the role of SLT has been recognized across the world. It is a very global program now, it's well recognized. And with a young chief executive, it is going places. So well done, Charu. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the kind introduction, Keshevji. That run, by the way, was in support of fundraising for snow leopard conservation. Excellencies and distinguished guests, snow leopards are a symbol of hope. They bring all our nations together, despite our occasional differences, despite sometimes even serious geopolitical conflicts. So I would like to begin by essentially saluting this spirit of cooperation shown by all our 12 snow leopard range countries under the Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Protection Program, which started about 10 years ago. My congratulations, Excellencies, for having successfully run this program for the last decade. My congratulations also for the amazing recognition that this program got in the form of the BBVA Foundation's Worldwide Award for Biodiversity Conservation. And that has happened because of the leadership shown by our countries. And I'd like all of you to join me in applauding this leadership once. Now, this program's actually become a model for the entire world on how we can all come together to protect nature and how we can actually put local and indigenous communities at the forefront of nature conservation. Now, personally, it's been an honor for me, as well as for our team at the International Snow Leopard Trust, for having been associated with this program from the very beginning in supporting the establishment of the Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Protection Program, in continuing to serve as its key technical partner, as well as in supporting the important work of the secretariat of this program, which is very kindly hosted by the government of the Kyrgyz Republic. But despite these successes, as you know, the snow leopards and the third pole are still in danger. Now, typically in climate conversations, citizens around the world are aware of the North Pole and the South Pole and the impact of warming on the poles as well as on our oceans. But most people are actually not aware of the impacts, or let alone the impacts. Most people are not even aware of the existence of the third pole and the dependence of a third of humanity on this region for its fresh water as well as various other ecosystem services. Now, the third pole is estimated, this entire region is estimated to be warming, as our minister said, warming at twice the average rates of warming in the Northern Hemisphere. So we really must intensify our conservation efforts as well as efforts towards climate adaptation across the third pole. We must focus on not just livelihoods, but we must focus on creating sustainable economies in these regions, economies of value over economies of scale, moving away from economies of scale and focusing on values of sustainability, local natural and cultural heritage, local entrepreneurship, and biodiversity conservation. So, Excellencies, I actually also appeal to you to together designate the snow leopard not just as a symbol of hope, but as a symbol of climate adaptation and resilience across the third pole, and as a symbol of ethical nature conservation across the third pole. Now, the previous 10 years really stand out as being the decade of cooperative snow leopard conservation under your leadership. Now, under your leadership today, let us try to ensure that the next 10 years will stand out as the decade of climate adaptation and snow leopard conservation across the third pole. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Charu. Is Gabriela here? So let me invite Ms. Gabriela Blatter, member of the GEF Council, Chief Policy Advisor, International Relations Division, Swiss Federal Office for the Environment, Global Environment Facility. Please, Gabriela.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the Kyrgyz government for the invitation. Your Excellency's distinguished guest, is a great honor to be here, and an honor that you trust us to be part of your constituency in the GEF Council, representing you in the Global Environment Facility. I would like to congratulate you all on your joint efforts to the protection of the snow leopard and its unique mountain ecosystem and the sustainable use thereof. The snow leopard program in the GF, for example, is a very good example of integrated programming that shows global environmental benefits across the various conventions. Many of you spoke to the unique challenges you have around climate change, mitigation and adaptation, but also the importance of the protection and sustainable use of biodiversity with the unique species of the snow leopards, which then of course also leads to the protection of so many other species and ecosystems. It is also a unique example of transboundary efforts that we are so appreciative of. And here I would also like to mention the appreciation to CAREC, trying to give this additional transboundary element to the region. So we very much appreciate that effort as well. And rest assured, Switzerland, as a mountainous landlocked country, we are very well aware of the many challenges you face. Actually, many of them are similar to the ones we face as well. You were mentioning the doubling of the temperature in your regions. It's exactly the same for us. It's probably the most standard line that our president uses when he speaks about climate change in Switzerland, that the temperature rise is double as high in Switzerland than it is in other countries. And because of our mountainous regions, we're very specifically affected due to glacier restoration, landslides, etc. So, and with that, I also, it was mentioned before, the importance that mountains are also recognized, for example, in the updated strategic plan of the GCF for the second replenishment. Switzerland just announced its contribution for the GCF2, and we fought really hard to have a reference for mountains in that strategic plan. So we are fighting for your region, for your ecosystem, and looking forward to continue working with you and hopefully to have our next GEF constituency meeting again in the region. It would be exciting to be back. And with that, I wish you all the best for your future efforts, and rest assured we stay with you. Thank you so much.
GF has been always a very proactive partner, and they have the resources. I'm more concerned about the resources. You've got to get the resources out of these multinational organizations, right, Gabriela? So the next is, I used to work for the World Bank myself, so I can say that. Yeah. Next is Isabel Kuzel, Deputy Director General, International Center for Integrated Mountain Development. Mr. Pema Gyamso is a very dear friend for a very long time. So very welcome, and I believe you have a presentation.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
Please go ahead.
So thank you very much, distinguished delegates, excellencies, for inviting me to speak today about the Hindu Kush Himalayan region. We've heard from, of course, Pakistan and Nepal. Of course, we are your neighbors in terms of the mountain regions in Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. So the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, we've heard already today several times, it's known as the third pole. It is so significant both regionally and globally. It's the third largest ice mass after the Arctic and the Antarctic. It is the source of Asia's 10 major rivers, and it is also home to 4 of the world's global biodiversity hotspots. And coupled with that, it is of course also home to 250 million people living in the mountains, but also 2 billion people depend on this region downstream. And this is a region that is of huge significance, and yet there is an accelerating crisis. We heard one of the previous speakers already say that the mountain region is warming 2 times faster than the other regions. This is extremely concerning. We recently published a report that presented some very concerning figures and statistics. We know that glaciers are already melting 65% faster in the 2010s than in the 2000s. We have modelers telling us that peak water might hit in 2050. That's only 27 years away. And of course, water is not only important for people, but also for the conservation of our ecosystems and the wildlife that lives within them. And if we continue at current emissions trends, 80% of our glaciers will be gone by 2100. That's only 77 years away. And what's very important to recognize is that there are more than 50,000 glaciers in this region, but we still know very little about what's happening and which particularly are the areas that are most at risk. Only 28 of those glaciers have active field monitoring. And of course, the changes in this, what we call the cryosphere, the snow, the permafrost and the ice, is complex, it's interrelated, and it's creating what we are calling cascading hazards. Glacial lake outburst floods, they are extremely damaging. These are some images. Recently, October, Sikkim, glacial lake outburst flood, everything is wiped out in its path. The permafrost, we believe it's thawing. We are still working on the data, but the thaw of permafrost has enormous implications, not only on ground instability and the landslides it causes, but also on ecosystem and high altitude species, such as the snow leopard. Decreases in snow, the snow line is moving upwards. Again, huge impacts, whether that's on irrigation, feeding the irrigation streams, or also on biodiversity and iconic species. And of course, landslides. I take this figure here in Nepal, 327 landslides already this year. But of course, it's not just about climate. Sometimes we focus our attention too much on climate, but there are also huge impacts arising from pollution. We are the most polluted region in the world, with enormous health impacts as well as impacts on ecosystems and biodiversity. We also have large rates of biodiversity loss and dramatic demographic and socio-economic changes. The scientists tell us that in the Hindu Kush Himalayan region, 70% of the biodiversity has been lost over the last century, and that the quality of our ecosystems is continuing to decline. And there are huge risks. Habitats are shrinking, putting enormous pressures on also other iconic species in addition to the snow leopard, the Asiatic bear by 44%, Tibetan antelope and wild yak. And of course, you all know that these are having significant implications on human-wildlife conflict as well. So tragedies such as this one last year, a snowfall coming late in the year killed many yak. And of course, invasive species. I was in the Bhutan highlands in September. I could see with my own eyes how dramatic the vegetation change is as you move upwards in altitude. They were even saying you can see tigers now at 4,000 meters. So tigers are meeting snow leopards in some of these landscapes. And of course, this has huge implications for Asia, but also beyond, whether it's the conservation of iconic species or whether it's sea level rise, but also in terms of the energy, the food, the livelihood, and the health security of the people that live within or are dependent on this region. Many new diseases are moving up, and some of these diseases are also impacting on wildlife. And climate migration, people need to move down, people need to move up. Where are people going to go? How is that going to impact on those last remaining ecosystems? The figure is 40 million people on the move in this region by 2050. So what is our response? It's not too late, but we do need to act now. And action is more urgent than ever before. So we at ICIMOD are working closely with our 8 countries. We've heard from some of them today. We are owned by and governed by our 8 countries. And as a regional and knowledge center, we work to support these 8 countries. But as I said earlier, we need to act now to protect the Hindu Kush Himalaya. And we've outlined 7 urgent intervention areas: disaster preparedness, early warning systems for all, but also understanding the interplay of transboundary risks. And biodiversity is a critical element of this. Boosting adaptation financing to where it matters most. There's a lot of calls here at this COP for doubling adaptation finance, but we're also saying let's make sure it gets to the people who need it most. We are not very good at getting money down to those who are really living on the front line of the climate and the biodiversity crisis. There are many communities up in the highlands who are losing livelihoods daily, either because of climate change or because of wildlife depredations. And we're not very good at focusing on the marginalized, whether it's women, the elderly, or the disabled. Air pollution is a win-win. More education, understanding, clean technology. Policy coordination, extremely important. We're working very closely with our 8 countries to set up an HKH Council. We would be very keen to, at some point, discuss this concept with our neighbors in Central Asia. But coming together is so important. No single country can solve these challenges alone. And of course, globally, there are so many negotiating tracks here. We need to do all we can to put mountains and their exceptional challenges really part of this agenda. And finally, new investment, new ways of investing, nature-based incentives. It's going to be very difficult to solve some of these challenges with nature-based solutions alone. What kind of interesting and innovative partnerships can we create with the global funds and the private and public sectors to really make these green growth concepts work on the ground? Advocate for loss and damage. Of course, this is largely targeted about in terms of the loss and damage for local communities, but it's very important to quantify the economic costs, the changes in landscapes and biodiversity, and how that further impacts on resilience and exposure to hazards and risks. And of course, innovative instruments, very important. And finally, our message, decarbonize now, We hope that there's going to be a real push on this at COP28. We need to manage those energy transitions as fast as we can. The top blue line is where we're at now. The green line is where we need to be. And finally, it's not too late. If we act now, there is still hope so that we can save our snow, save our species. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very, very well presented, and I hope this presentation would be shared. Those who are behind, standing, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Those who are? Okay, so we can hear you too. Just wanted to let you know that. So would you please give some attention to the speakers? That will be great. We now have Mr. Dr. Kaustubh Sharma, who has driven the Bishkek Secretariat to new global stature and has been able to create a very nice knowledge partnership among all the 12 range countries, which is truly something very special. We started with the tigers, the 13 tiger range countries, and then came here, and 5 are tigers and snow leopards. But we have now 20 countries and the tigers and snow leopards, and Kazakhstan is actually thinking of bringing in tigers now back to their country. So Kaustubh has been out there for how long? 7 years. He has been living in Bishkek, refuses to come back to India. He loves being there, and he loves the environment and the nice bars, and he cycles around and all that kind of stuff is going on. So I envy him while sitting in Delhi. So Kaustubh, very welcome. Thank you.
Excellencies, colleagues, and dear friends, very good afternoon. Oops. Now, the snow leopard is the only big cat that is restricted to mountains, while others, such as the tiger, jaguar, common leopard, and others range from plains to forests to mountains. It is the only cat whose mothers care for their cubs for about 2 years, more than all the other big cats listed together. It is the only species, or the only big cat species, that shares its range with these 12 countries and crosses borders without passports or visas. It is the only species that represents the mountains that constitute the planet's third pole, the largest frozen reserve of water outside North and South Pole. The third pole stores nearly 7,000 trillion liters of water. The snow leopard is threatened by conventional threats such as retaliatory killing, by angry herders. They're threatened by illegal wildlife trade. They're threatened by new threats such as poorly planned infrastructure and development. Roads that were once not even considered to be a threat to snow leopards are now leading to direct mortalities as cars move at faster paces than ever before. Some recent research conducted during the COVID-19 pandemic has revealed that the entire snow leopard range, or the third pole, is far more vulnerable to diseases than perceived before. But where does climate change come into the picture? How are receding glaciers affecting snow leopards and their home? How are rapidly changing weather patterns driving people closer to once remote pastures and leading to more negative interactions between people and wildlife? How are extreme events affecting local economies and reducing their tolerance to conflict with wildlife? The answer is climate change is not a threat, but the mother of all threats to snow leopards. It's interacting and amplifying all the other threats, making them far more severe and widespread than they have ever been. Since 2013, 12 countries have come together to take collective action for conservation of snow leopard and its habitat. Collective actions that have otherwise been considered impossible have been undertaken through unprecedented efforts. Roughly 500,000 square kilometers of mountains have come under additional protection. Nearly 500 frontline conservationists have been trained in various techniques. More than 30 award-winning conservationists have recently convened to launch a momentous movement called the Ethical Conservation Alliance under the aegis or through the convening power of the GSLEP program. Innovative programs have been started that connect livelihoods with biodiversity conservation and address the challenge of economic development driven biodiversity loss. Global and regional experts have been brought together to develop policy advisories on specific themes of conservation relevance. This year, as the Honorable Minister said, we are celebrating the 10th year of this unique platform that is the Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Protection Program, bringing together nothing less than 70 different organizations, in addition to, of course, these 12 countries that own the program. We are taking this opportunity to call upon the world's attention to the third pole that is represented by the snow leopard and which is warming at an unprecedented rate, as we just saw in the previous presentation. What we hope is that with snow leopard as the mascot of climate adaptation, the GSLEP program as the convening platform bringing together the 12 country governments representing the third pole and beyond, and the convergence between climate adaptation and ethical biodiversity conservation programs, the world will prioritize or will be able to prioritize climate adaptation in Asia's third pole. We owe it to the glaciers that support 40% of the world's human population. We owe it to the unique biodiversity that these mountains support. Thank you very much. They will put up the resolution, the statement. So then
Who will give?
And the idea is that we will then, too small. Can we read? The people can read it, okay? We're trying to, now you can invite maybe the minister to, all.
कुछ कह दूं थोड़ा सा और. Ladies and gentlemen, brilliant presentations, passionate people, passionate professionals who have conveyed the stress that the mountain systems are facing. I have 2 points to convey from my side. I do not think we have been able to, frankly, establish a connection between the problems the mountains are facing and its impact to the plains. People are sitting in the plains have no idea what is happening at 10,000 feet and above. And they frankly don't really care. That's what I see every day. So one of the challenges is to ensure this connectivity, that what is happening in the mountains is not happening just because affecting the snow leopard. It is actually affecting the quality of life of everybody who is living in the plains. And this connection has not been established. And I would request that the Honorable Minister and the champions who are here establish this connection, that awareness. Secondly, sir, there are very, very small resources for very large problems. We need billions of dollars. I mean, GF has been trying to do something. There is GCF sitting around for so many years. I've been part of all this. I was director for the World Bank for 17 years. I've been part of all this. But the flow of resources to the mountains, to the hills, and the capacity to use that resources does not exist. So that is another 2 things One is this connectivity, another this thing. So let me stop here. There is a joint statement calling the world's assistance to climate resilience and snow leopards in the third pole. And I would request Honorable Minister from Kyrgyzstan to make a statement in that regard. Sir, you would like to say something, because there's a closing ceremony, and this resolution this needs to be got through.
Thank you. Do we have Mongolian representative? We didn't give a speech. Is that okay? Okay. Excellencies, dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for coming today and sharing your valuable thoughts and ideas with us. The results we expect are profound and far-reaching. By establishing sustainable mechanisms for international cooperation, we will increase access to critical data, information, knowledge, and technology, facilitating better interaction between countries. Diversifying our efforts to protect the snow leopard will not only strengthen its conservation, but will also help to raise up the profile of mountain countries as models for demonstrating sustainable and harmonious development with nature. In conclusion, let us continue to promote dialogue between us on mountain and climate issues on global arena, and move forward reinforcing our commitment to the goals we have set. The road ahead requires hard work and coordinated action. Let us together stand for the conservation of our high mountain ecosystems, protection of glaciers, and the snow leopard, and contribution to a viable and harmonious future for generations to come. Thank you all for coming, for supporting this initiative, and we are ready, look forward to cooperating with you. Once again, thank you.
Excellency, don't get tired of me, because I'm going to have a drink with you guys later for doing all this interesting job. So we have few mementos of the snow leopard, which Honorable Minister may like to give to all the speakers today. But today I believe, Costa, would you please come this side? You are looking a little distracted, so please be here. So this particular joint statement is approved by this. It is approved.
Share it because there are some representatives.
No, but it is approved by this House, and we will, after approval, share it with others. We'll be very democratic, as usual, got to get very democratic and effective. So would you please get those mementos? Honorable Minister, would you like to hand over to each speaker, starting with the Honorable Minister from Kazakhstan?
So can I introduce?
Yeah.
So since this is the 10th year of the GSLEP program, we've got a specially designed brooch for our honorable guests. First, the Honorable Minister from Kazakhstan. Please, we would like to. Photo.
Very smart.
It is.
Doing great. So Pakistan.
One more, yes.
इनको देना है, इसी मोड को देना है, इसी मोड in GEF, please. Each of this brooch means $100 million of support. Come back quickly. Come. I'll tell Carlos, don't worry about it. I'll talk to him. But please, you gave brilliant speeches, and it's such a pleasure. Great research, great speech. From GEF, please. Actually, just wanted to say that the Global Tiger Initiative, Gabriela, the Global Tiger Initiative was a joint, if she doesn't probably, Gabriela, the Global Tiger Initiative, which was launched in 2008, it started with the World Bank, GEF.
Yes.
I was the program director who started it, incidentally. So GEF has been a great partner. We want to recognize that. Yeah, it's terrific. You convey it to Carlos also from our side. Well, ladies and gentlemen and honorable ministers, we have a lot of expectations from the honorable ministers of leading this charge of getting the resources for the mountains. And it must get included in the resolution that Secretary General was talking today in one of the meetings hosted by Nepal. So we got to get tough on this. We got to get resources for the mountains. But it is not just about the plains. They have to do something about it, because all that will continue to percolate down, the impact. Thank you very much. It's truly an amazing day, and I hope you enjoyed the sessions and you were patient with me. So thank you for that also.